Have you heard? Lowering the dose for ACTH stimulation. When trying to determine the degree of adrenocortical insufficiency or critical illness-related corticosteroid insufficiency in cats, low-dose ACTH stimulation testing can help achieve an accurate diagnosis. But what dose is the best? The standard ACTH stimulation dose of cosentropin is 125 micrograms per cat. This dose is not thought to be adequately sensitive for detecting critical illness-related corticosteroid insufficiency. A recent report aimed to take the first steps in determining the optimal feline dose of cosentropin based on body weight that will produce maximal cortisol and aldosterone secretion comparable to that achieved with the standard dose of 125 micrograms per cat. The researchers also set out to establish the ideal sampling time corresponding with peak stimulation for the low-dose cosentropin dose administered. Young, healthy, intact male cats were studied, and each cat was prepared with an implanted vascular access port. This port allowed minimal restraint and handling throughout the study, eliminating the complication of stress-induced cortisol secretion. The cats were given 5 doses of cosentropin and saline solution intravenously over the course of the study, with a 2-week washout period between each treatment. Baseline serum cortisol and aldosterone concentrations were measured, and blood sample testing every 15 minutes for 90 minutes followed each dose of cosentropin or saline. The low doses of cosentropin evaluated ranged from 1 to 10 micrograms per kilogram, with 125 micrograms per cat and saline representing the positive and negative control groups. All but the lowest dose of cosentropin led to peak cortisol and aldosterone concentrations comparable to that achieved with the standard dose. The lower the cosentropin dose, the earlier the peaks occurred. As expected, no change was observed after saline administration, confirming that stress was not a factor. The lowest dose that resulted in an overlap of maximum cortisol and aldosterone response was 5 micrograms per kilogram and occurred between 60 and 75 minutes after intravenous cosentropin administration. As noted by the researchers, the study subjects were all healthy, intact male cats, and since sex may influence adrenocortical responsiveness, this selection of participants may have had an effect on the results. Since an intravenous route was used for this study, responses to intramuscular administration would be likely to produce significantly lower peak values. Also, responses may differ in populations of older or ill individuals, and these findings suggest a benefit to further evaluation in various cat populations. However, low-dose ACTH stimulation testing using 5 micrograms per kilogram given intravenously, followed by blood sample collection at 60 to 75 minutes, was shown to produce comparable results to that of the traditional 125 micrograms per cat dose.